Hello and welcome to a new tutorial on my channel. My name is Andrea and today we are making this beautiful shawl. The shawl is called Aglaia and this was the name of my great-grandmother on my grandmother's side. On my mother's side. She was an extraordinary woman and I invite you to read more of her story in the pattern file. If you also had an amazing great-grandmother or grandmother, I would love to hear her story in the comments below. As you can see, this is another rounded triangle shawl with beautiful draping, which comes from the extended sides. You will be working in a lace pattern, which will create a light and airy fabric. If you want to replicate this kind of fabric, you will need a gradient cake and a mohair companion. The edge features these beautiful bubbles that I will also show you how to make in this tutorial. You can wear this shawl in many ways. You can just wear it around your shoulders and it will not fall off because of the shape of the upper edge. You can tie it in the back, either by crossing over in the front or by tying it behind your back. You can also wear it as a regular triangle scarf when you go out, for example. I like to wear mine as a triangle scarf when I go out, and then when I reach somewhere I will put it on my shoulders to keep me warm. Now let's get the yarn and the hook ready and let's get started. To make this pattern, you will need some yarn. You can use a gradient cake like this, for example, if you want to make a spring summery shawl, or you can use this gradient plus a companion yarn to make the shawl suitable for winter. For example, I would use one of these lace weight fluffy yarns. You need the same length this yarn as the cake. This is Cotton King Twirls. It's a gradient cake, as you can see, and it has 800 meters of yarn per 200 gram cake. You have cakes that are bigger or slightly smaller. It's your choice. If you want to use these two together, then you will need a bigger hook, about the 6 millimeter. If you just want to use one of these, then you will use a 3.5 millimeter hook. You also need a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle to weave in the ends. To make the shawl that you saw in the introduction, you will use these two yarns held together and the whole cake. For this tutorial, I will demonstrate using this sock yarn. It's a similar weight, but because it's a sock yarn, I will use a 3 millimeter hook. You can make some stitch substitutions and you can find these in the pattern. We will begin with a magic ring, which is a simple loop. Then we chain 4. This also counts as an extended double crochet stitch. Then we make 1 double crochet stitch. We chain 1 more double crochet stitch, chain 2, 1 double crochet stitch, chain 1 double crochet stitch, and now you have a choice to make 1 double crochet stitch or an extended double crochet stitch. I will make an extended one, so yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This is the first row done, and we pull on the tail to close the magic ring here. I will continue to work with chain 4s as extended double crochet stitches and extended double crochet stitches at the end of the row. Now we turn and chain 4. In the first stitch we put 1 double crochet stitch. Then we chain 1 and make 1 double crochet stitch also in the first stitch. This will count as the first V stitch. Then we make 1 more V stitch, which is 1 double crochet stitch, 1 chain, 1 double crochet stitch in the next chain 1 space. Then we put 1 double crochet, chain 2, and one more double crochet in the chain 2 space. And now we go to the other side. So we have one V in the next chain 1 space. One V in the top of the chain 4 here. And an extended double crochet stitch in the same stitch. Row 2 is finished. Now we turn again. We'll make row 3 now. Chain 4. One V-stitch here in the first stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now we will put 2 V's here in the spaces. So in the first V we have 1 V. In the second V we have another V. And we have reached the middle stitch here. We put 2 V stitches in here. So we have 1 and the second V stitch in the same chain 2 space. Then we have 2 more V stitches, one in each of the next 2 V stitches. And the last V stitch in the top of the chain 4. And one extended double crochet in the same space. We turn, chain 4, 1 V stitch in the first stitch, V stitches in the next 3 V stitches here, one more V stitch in this V stitch in the middle, and now we chain 2. Then we continue the same way on the other side. We have 4 V stitches, one in each of the next 4 V stitches. And the last V stitch and an extended double crochet stitch here in the top of the chain 4. The next 3 rows will be repeats of these 3 rows, 2, 3, and 4. So I will show you how to make those as well, and then we can start to bind off. You will keep working this repeat of 3 rows until the shawl is big enough. If you use this kind of yarn, you will stop when you reach the last color change to make the border rows. You have instructions in the pattern as well how to make these border rows, and I will show you now after making 3 more rows. We turn and chain 4, put a V stitch in the top of the stitch here in the first stitch. Now we have V stitches all the way to the middle. This is 5 V stitches. When we reach the middle, we have a double crochet stitch, chain 2, one more double crochet stitch. Then we make V stitches all the way to the last stitch here. This pattern is very easy to work fast because you don't have to find the place to put your stitches in. So it's very simple to make, even if you're traveling or talking to people. When we reach the last stitch here, we have one V-stitch and one extended double crochet. That was row 5. Row 6, we chain 4, we put a V-stitch in the first stitch, then V-stitches all the way to the middle, when we reach the middle, we put 2 V-stitches here in the chain 2 space. And we make V-stitches to the last stitch. In the last stitch, as always, we put one V-stitch and one extended double crochet stitch. Row 7, chain 4, one V-stitch in the first stitch, V-stitches to the middle, when you reach the middle, chain 2, then V-stitches all the way on the other side, then one V-stitch and an extended double crochet stitch in the last stitch. You will continue like this to build the main body of the shawl, and when you're done you will block it and you will have a very nice stitch definition here. Now I want to show you how to finish off the shawl. After you're done with the repeats, you have 2 more rows to make to finish off the shawl and give it a nice edge. On the first row we will put double crochet stitches instead of the chain stitches in the V's. So we will have V's made up of 3 double crochet stitches. Let's try it. So we turn, chain 4, and instead of putting a V in the first stitch, we put 3 double crochet stitches. Then in the next V stitch, we put 3 double crochet stitches. And we continue like this to the middle. The middle chain 2 space, you put 6 double crochet stitches in there. And then continue on the other side, making 3 double crochet stitches in each V-stitch. In the top of the last stitch here, in the top of the chain 4, we put 3 double crochet stitches and an extended double crochet stitch. This is row 1 of the edging, and you can see it has brought everything together in a nice solid edge. And in the second row, we will make popcorns every 12 stitches. To begin, we will again start with the chain 4. Then we make a popcorn stitch. To make the popcorn stitch, first we chain 3. Then we put 5 or 4 double crochet stitches in the third chain. I will put 5 because I like them to be quite round. When we have the 5 double crochet stitches, we can remove the hook from the yarn and put it through the top of the chain 3 at the beginning. Then we pull through, so we make a slip stitch here. And to close up this popcorn, we can make a slip stitch around the base of the popcorn, so it sits here independently. Now we make 3 double crochet stitches in the first stitch. Then we put 1 double crochet stitch in each of the next 12 double crochet stitches from the previous row. If you want to, you can make the space between these popcorns smaller, it's your choice. So now we make another popcorn, chain 3, put 5 double crochet stitches into the first chain. Remove the hook, put it into the top of the chain here. Pick up the yarn and make a slip stitch around the popcorn at the base here. Then 12 more double crochet stitches, and just keep on going like this until you reach the middle. You'll probably not have a perfect 12 stitch multiple, but that's not a problem because you can add or remove a few double crochet stitches. The important thing is that the 2 sides are symmetrical. Now that I've made 12 more stitches, 1 more popcorn is coming up, 3 chains, 5 double crochet stitches in the first chain. Slip stitch through the top of the chain 3 and then around the bottom. Now I will make double crochet stitches to the middle. I don't have exactly 12, let's count them. I made 8. So now I know exactly how many I should put on this side before I make the first popcorn. Now I've reached almost at the middle. There are 2 stitches in the middle now. And I will put 2 double crochet stitches in the first one. Make the popcorn, which will be the middle popcorn. And I will put 2 more double crochet stitches in the next stitch. Now 8 double crochet stitches and the popcorn, then 12, and the popcorn, then 12, and we will reach the last stitch. I just made 8 double crochet stitches and I will put a popcorn. Now we have 12 more double crochet stitches. One more popcorn. And the last 12 double crochet stitches. In the last stitch we make 3 double crochet stitches in the top of the chain 4. One extended double crochet stitch and the last popcorn. Now you would cut the yarn, pull through, and then weave in the 2 ends. And this is the beautiful Aglaia shawl. When you're finished, it helps to block the shawl into its final shape. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you will make a beautiful shawl using this pattern. If you have any questions or if anything is unclear, you can write me an email or you can leave a comment below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to know when I publish more, please subscribe to the channel and to my emails, because that way you're certain that you will get my updates. Plus, you get a free pattern. I will see you soon with another video. Bye!